everyone, and welcome to the Week 31 edition of Instant Replay, where I give you my take on the most controversial calls of the weekend. I'm Simon Borg. We start at CenturyLink Field with the decisive match for the Cascadia Cup between Seattle and Vancouver. It was decided by a Kekuta Mane goal just before halftime, which proved pretty controversial. Here's why. After the match, the Seattle Sounders contended that Mane and the Whitecaps were given an unfair advantage, alleging the player was waved back on too soon after an injury. You see, Mane took this hit from Obafemi Martins, more on that in a bit, and he had to come off the field. Let's watch it again. You see, Mane's off the field when play resumes at 43:59, and referee Jair Marufo only waves Mane back on at 44:17, nearly 20 seconds later, with the Sounders in possession. So when Mane receives the ball more than 10 seconds after being waved on, well, frankly, I think the Sounders don't have an argument. Good goal! But back to the hit that Mane took in the first place, which, by the way, forced the Whitecaps forward to be subbed off at halftime. It's a strange one, because when we watch the replay, the motion of Obafemi Martins' right leg is not one I would expect to see if he were in fact kicking the ball. Martins' leg and foot turn at the last second toward Mane instead of following the regular kicking motion. Hard for us to judge intent there because it's a bang-bang play, but it's worth noting Martins doesn't even get a yellow from the referee. I thought Marufo made the right call in the 31st minute when Michael Azira took a tumble in the box on a challenge from Stephen Beitashour. Azira wanted a PK, but when you watch it in slow-mo, I can't see the foul. But what I do see is Azira kicking the ground instead of the ball. Marufo says play on, and I agree. Dom Dwyer wanted an early penalty in his team's match against the Chicago Fire, but I think this is a great tackle, although a risky one, by Bakary Soumare in the 3rd minute. Sporting KC did get a penalty in the 12th minute, Lavelle Palmer sticking his leg out and bringing down Benny Feilhaber in the box. No doubt about that one, but Dwyer misses the spot kick opportunity. The home team would still end up victorious 2-0, and they probably should have ended up with a man advantage too. In the 87th minute, Quincy Amarikwa clatters into Sporting midfielder Mikey Lopez, and to me, this is endangering the safety of an opponent. Referee Kevin Stott opts for the yellow instead. There were some who wanted a red card on Chivas USA's Akira Kaji in the 44th minute of the Goats' victory over Colorado. It was a rough, reckless foul, but I'm okay with the yellow card from referee Alan Chapman, which, by the way, comes for persistent infringement, as you can see the ref explain himself. That play is a similar one to the AJ De La Garza entry on Andres Escobar in the Dallas-LA match on Sunday. Hard foul, and yellow was the right call from referee Alan Kelly, who wasn't the referee anymore when a red card was shown in the last minute of the game. That's because Kelly came off at halftime due to a heel injury, and he left the stage to 4th official Juan Guzman, who did not hesitate going to the back pocket when Moises Hernandez went in with this crunching tackle on Jose Villarreal. That, to me, was endangering the safety. Good for the red card. But Guzman could have probably thrown out another Dallas player well before that. We don't have a replay from the broadcast, but this 76-minute Adam Moffat tackle on Bajo Husidic looks pretty vicious from a distance. Guzman was right there and didn't even call a foul. Hard for us to tell from that angle. Guzman and Kelly both did well not to fall for 2 different penalty kick appeals in this one. First, in the 20th minute, David Teixeira goes down in the box, and on replay it looks like it was a dive. I can't see the contact at all from LA defender Omar Gonzalez. Good no call there. Then in the second half, it was Galaxy forward Alan Gordon going down in the box on a little shoulder-to-shoulder bump from Moises Hernandez. Not a foul in my opinion, and Guzman looked the other way, although you can see Gordon arguing, quote, "That's a foul." Worth highlighting the excellent job by assistant Eric Weisbrod on the goal by Teixeira that drew Dallas level in the 52nd minute. The freeze frame shows he was even with the last defender on the through ball. Still, that was a difficult play, and Weisbrod got it right. Good goal. It was a much tougher call to make in the New York-Toronto game on Bradley Wright Phillips' opening goal. When we look at the freeze frame, he's probably offside by the slightest of margins on Kosuke Kimura's cross. So just imagine how close it must have appeared in real time to assistant Bill Dittmar, who gave the benefit of the doubt to the attacker, as assistants are told to do. Toronto FC defender Nick Haglund will feel hard done by after 2 incidents on dead ball plays left the rookie on the ground. The culprit on both occasions, Red Bulls defender Jamison Olave, who pushes Haglund in the 18th minute and then again in the 40th minute. Neither infraction was spotted by referee Hilario Grajeda, who eventually gave Haglund a red card toward the end of the match on a different set-piece play. You can see Haglund goes in with the forearm/elbow to the back of Armando's head. I think Grajeda got it right. And back in week 25, I made the case for Seattle's Zach Scott to get the same punishment when he rammed into the back of Nick LaBroca's head. Scott only got a yellow in that one. The referee in that game? Grajeda, who was also in charge of New York-Toronto. Another debatable challenge took place in the Philly-Columbus match at PPL Park. It's the 55th minute when Maurice Adu reaches out with his stud showing on Ethan Finlay. I don't think this is necessarily endangering the safety, so I'm okay with no red, but I thought it was worth at least the yellow card, which did not come from referee Mark Geiger. One penalty kick shot in this one, and it came in the 9th minute from the Union. Vincent Nogueira is making a run into the penalty box, and the Crew's Bernardo Honor plays the man instead of the ball. I thought that was a penalty. Geiger didn't. The Montreal Impact were calling for a PK in the 83rd minute against the Revolution when this Jack McInerney cross is deflected by Jermaine Jones's elbow. That's a handball to me, because even though Jones turns his back to the play, he extends the elbow to make contact with the ball. One other questionable play in this one, and it came in the 37th minute. Lee Wynn took objection to this studs-up tackle from Felipe, and with good reason in my opinion. But then Wynn comes back with what I think is an avoidable stomp. So let's call it a wash, shall we? And we end in Houston and 3 really interesting plays. First, just before halftime, assistant referee Chris Strickland signals a handball in the box by rookie defender Steve Birnbaum. But on the replay, we can see that the ball hits Birnbaum in the upper right shoulder, not his arm. Great job by referee Ismail Elfat to have a chat with his assistant, and they ultimately get it right and overturn the penalty call. Drop ball. The Dynamo did eventually get a penalty in the 81st minute, but this one also had question marks. Houston's Ricardo Clark is the player who goes down in the box, but it looks like he trips up after running into the legs of a DC defender. Plus, it looks like Clark was the one pulling on Sean Franklin and made sure to take him down as well. It's a tough one because in real time it looks like a penalty, and the ref probably sees Franklin's arms extending outward toward Clark. Elfat does point to the spot, and Giles Barnes scores Houston's only goal of the game. But shortly thereafter, Eddie Johnson would restore DC's 2-goal advantage. As with some of the other offside plays we've seen here, this was also tight. If you want to nitpick, the freeze frame does seem to indicate that EJ was a head offside, but in real time, the benefit of the doubt goes to the attacker, and it did here. That's all we have for this week. For our editor, Abner Aceves, I'm Simon Borg. See you next time.